So here we are, not even a week later, on February 19th, stealing alcohol from the Norway Quick Stop.
I am an American non-citizen national that's defined in the United States Code. And I do believe that underneath copyright, once my name is copyrighted through the Daily News, once I put that copyright on your paperwork, that's something called copyright impoundment. That means that under Erie Railroad versus Tompkins, the fictitious entity under due process of law does not apply to my sui juris living being. I don't understand how I can tell you that I'm an American national and you can hold me in a county jail under bond, especially today when I was arrested on a larceny under $200. Somebody changed case prefixes and the warrant got dropped to a misdemeanor. And now you're still going to illegally hold me in a county jail.
All right, folks, buckle up, because this one's wild. We're back in court with a familiar face, a sovereign citizen who clearly hasn't learned a single thing. Not even a week after
All right, People of the State of Michigan versus Drew James Peltola, files 247831 SM and file 247819 SM. Mr. Peltola appears from the Dickinson County Jail. Counsel
appellation known as Drew James Peltola appears before you as an entity.
Hold on a minute. Just let me make the appearances, and I'm going to give you the floor, okay? In regard to the matter, Nancy Schaub is here as both his counsel on the underlying file on 247819 SM, as well as the first bond violation. She's here as CAFA counsel on bond violation number 2 in this file, as well as a new file of 7831 SM. Kristen Cass is here on behalf of the prosecutor's office. Drew Peltola, I'm going to give you an opportunity now to say whatever you want to say. Go ahead.
Ma'am, I was trying to get a ride to court this morning. This bond violation.
Wait, sir. I don't want you to talk about the underlying charges. I wanted you to say whatever you wanted to say. I thought you started to say some sovereign citizen information that you wanted to make a record of.
I am an American non-citizen national that's defined in the United States Code. And I do believe that underneath copyright, once my name is copyrighted through the Daily News, once I put that copyright on your paperwork, that's something called copyright impoundment. That means that under Erie Railroad versus Tompkins, the fictitious entity under due process of law does not apply to my sui juris living.
Walking out of jail, this guy thought it was a genius idea to stroll into a quick stop and steal liquor. Yeah, you heard that right. He was released on bond, and before the ink was even dry on his paper.
Is there anything else you'd like to state for the record concerning this issue then, Mr. Peltola?
No, there's not, Your Honor. I would just like to be released again on a PR bond. You have expedition charges. I'm asking the courts to please release me on a PR bond again, and I'll continue to abide by court rules and stay off of drugs and try to maintain my court dates.
All right. In regard to the matter then, Mr. Peltola, I have an advice of rights and plea, and for the record, I will acknowledge your comments, that your objections in respect to the court's jurisdiction and whatnot are noted for the record. All right, concerning the matter, then I have some concerns regarding Mr. Peltola. He seems to be on a spiral. This started with a disorderly drunk on February 4th in a public place. I saw him on February 5th. I set his bond terms. I saw him back on February 12th, with a .236 on a preliminary breath test. I set bond at that time on the bond violation and the underlying. And the reason I told him then that I was going to give him the break is that normally I see people in between, they get arraigned, I give them the warning, and then they come back on a bond violation. He had not had the warning in between because he violated his bond so quickly that I saw him all at once. So I told Mr. Peltola at that time that I would set the bond at a 1,000 PR, but understand that if he came back again, he would leave me no opportunity or new choice. So here we are, not even a week later, on February 19th, stealing alcohol from the Norway Quick Stop, involving another bond violation, as well as a new underlying charge that I'm free to assume is true for purposes of setting bond. So for purposes of setting bond today, then, for the following reasons, and in regard to his Wisconsin matters, very serious matters, he's got 2 felonies pending in Brown County from 2023. The first one alleges possession of narcotic drugs, a felony, possession of a controlled substance on or near certain places with a modifier, carrying a concealed knife, possession of drug paraphernalia. That case has been pending through for quite some time. And he has a court date for a status conference scheduled for February 26th at 11 a.m. Then, so the date of this offense was filing date of 2/10 of 2023. He's got a filing date of March 15th of 2023 in Brown County, another felony alleging bail jumping as well as possession of drug paraphernalia. Likewise, that has a court date at the same date and the same time as the other pending felony.
I think that is part of the other pending felony. They charge it as a separate offense, but
It's a separate case. Separate total separate case, total separate charges, total separate bond, total separate court dates. This is file 23 CF 448. The first one is 23 CF 240. So in respect to the matter, my point being for purposes of setting bond, Mr. Peltola has some substance abuse issues going on. He's got numerous cases pending in Wisconsin as well as now here. In regard to the matter, Mr. Peltola, I'm going to direct you to talk to your lawyer. I'm setting bond concerning the new theft case. Then the conditions are going to be as follows. Mr. Peltola may not enter into the Norway Quick Stop as a condition of his release. He is not to purchase, possess, or consume alcohol or non-prescribed controlled substances. Mr. Peltola is subject to random PBTs and drug screens. Mr. Peltola may not go in any businesses that sell alcohol for use inside, such as bars and taverns. Recreational and medicinal marijuana use and possession are prohibited until or unless further order of the court. Condition on him signing that waiver of extradition, which I do have in the file, I will allow him to go back and forth to Wisconsin for purposes of court hearings and or meeting with his attorney.
He's right back at it. And today he's standing in front of the same judge who already gave him a break once. But instead of being remorseful or even halfway respectful, this man walks into court ready to lecture.
If
in residency, he lives in Wisconsin.
in residency. No, he lives in Vulcan. Or he says Vulcan. Is that just your
Bracketed.
mailing address?
Yes, we can do it like that if you choose to.
Well, where is your residency?
My
Well,
residency and my domicile is 1968 River Street. We can switch it with a mailing address to W43, the apartment 13 in Vulcan, Michigan. The address should be in there. It should be bracketed.
Right, and that's apartment 13. You didn't put that on there though. Apartment 13?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's your mailing address though?
Yes, but the problem is that building's not registered anywhere. I had to go to the post office and I had something mailed and they told me that my mail was being returned and because there's no actual mailboxes in the building.
All right, so I got two issues I need to deal with here. One, do you live in Wisconsin? Do you have to go to Wisconsin for purposes of residency or just your court stuff?
My mailing address, my residency, and my domicile are all registered at my mother's house. There was some unexplained events that I will not say out loud.
I don't know where your mother's house is, Mr. Peltola.
Ma'am. Address.
River Street, Niagara, Wisconsin, 54151. My mailing address will be W45. That's the Norway to the Vulcan address. I can't remember that off the top of my head.
All right. So in regard to bond, then condition on him signing a waiver of extradition, I'll allow him to go back and forth between Michigan and Wisconsin for residency, court appearances, meetings with his attorney. In regard to the matter, if you relocate for any reason, you must provide the court with an updated address and phone number within 7 days of any change. Concerning the amount of the bond on the new retail fraud, I'm going to set that. I'm going to set that at 1,000 cash surety, 10%. In regard to the newest bond violation, then I'm finding for both of them, actually, I'm going to make a record based on the factors the court is required to consider under MCR 6.106, considering the frequency, the charges, the dates that I have mentioned, as well as the ongoing Wisconsin matter. I am finding that to release him on a personal recognizance bond would not adequately ensure public safety. In regard to the bond violation, concerning the matter, then I am going to set the bond violation at 2,500 cash surety, 10%. So, Mr. Peltola, those bonds are set. If you get out, you make sure to get in touch with your lawyer. If you're in
Can I say
custody,
something?
she'll be in touch with you. You may.
Yes. You know, I don't understand how I can tell you that I'm an American national and you can hold me in a county jail under bond, especially today when I was arrested on a larceny under $200. Somebody changed case prefixes and the warrant got dropped to a misdemeanor. And now you're still going to illegally hold me in a county jail.
To the judge about copyright law. You can't make this stuff up. The judge tries to start the hearing like any other, calls the case, lists the charges, and gives him the floor.
All right, Mr. Peltola, I'm not going to argue with you. Your sovereign citizen has been noted for the record. In regard to the matter, you are under the order of the court. You're under the jurisdiction of the court. I decline to follow what your...
Can I at least tell you, admit I was arrested on a larceny charge that was dropped through a case prefix, what UN, all incoming evidence. Can I at least have you admit that in the court of law that you guys illegally kidnapped me again with a larceny through John Rod D. Clark, Norway Police Department? Can I just have you admit that once?
No, Mr. Peltola, I don't even know what you're talking about. I will not admit that. Thank you to the
It's all
jail. We are
recorded
off the record
on the
on this
jail.
matter.
But our sovereign citizen doesn't waste a second before launching into what sounds like a legal fairy tale. He claims he's an American non-citizen national, and apparently, because he copyrighted his name through the Daily News, that somehow makes him immune from U.S. law. He starts rambling about something called copyright impoundment, and even throws in a random Supreme Court case, Erie Railroad versus Tompkins, as if he's cracked some ancient legal code that no one else knows about. The judge just sits there listening, probably wondering if this guy seriously believes this nonsense or if he's just trying to stall. Now, for anyone who doesn't speak sovereign citizen, here's what's going on. People like him actually believe that if they copyright their name, the government can't legally use it in documents, like it's some kind of magical shield against prosecution. They think courts are private corporations and that every case is a contract they can just opt out of. It's been debunked so many times, but they still cling to it like it's gospel. It's like trying to argue that gravity doesn't exist because you don't agree with it. It's not how reality works. So while he's in court preaching about his copyrighted name and his living being status, everyone else in the room is probably just waiting for the judge to drop the hammer. When the judge finally gets a word in, he notes that this guy has been on a downward spiral for weeks, starting with a public drunkenness charge on February 4th. Then another hearing just days later where he blew a 0.236 on a breath test. The judge had already warned him back then, one more violation and you're done. Well, here we are, not even a week later, and he's back, caught stealing alcohol again. The judge starts listing off his record like a grocery list. Pending felonies in Wisconsin, drug charges, bail jumping, concealed weapons, and now retail fraud on top of it. And despite all that, the judge still gives him another shot, setting conditions like staying away from bars. No alcohol, no drugs, and random testing. He's even allowed to travel for his court appearances, as long as he signs a waiver of extradition. Honestly, I don't know how this judge keeps his patience, because at this point, this guy's not just breaking the law, he's mocking it. He's standing there, pretending he's some sovereign being outside the system, while his record keeps growing like a shopping receipt. And somehow, he still expects to walk out on another PR bond. But don't worry, it gets worse. So just when you think this hearing is wrapping up, our sovereign scholar decides to double down. The judge sets bond, $1,000 for the new theft charge, and $2,500 for his bond violation, then tells him to stay in touch with his lawyer. Simple enough, right? But no, not for this guy. He suddenly snaps back at the judge, demanding to know, how can you hold me in a county jail under bond when I'm an American national? He's literally asking how the court dares to enforce the law on someone who's copyrighted his name, as if that's supposed to make him untouchable. And get this, He claims the police illegally kidnapped him over a larceny charge that got changed to a misdemeanor. So in his mind, the whole case is invalid. The judge, who's clearly had it by now, stays calm but firm. He tells him, "Mr. Pella, I'm not going to argue with you. Your sovereign citizen beliefs are noted for the record. You're under the jurisdiction of this court." That's judge speak for, "I'm done entertaining your nonsense," but this guy doesn't stop. He keeps pressing, "Can you at least admit in the court of law that you illegally kidnapped me?" The judge doesn't even blink. He just says, "No, Mr. Pella, I don't even know what you're talking about." And with that, bang, off the record. That's it. Hearing over. Now, honestly, I have no clue how this man keeps getting chances. He's out here stealing, defying bond conditions, disrespecting the court, and ranting about imaginary laws. And yet, he's still being given the opportunity to post bail. How many times does someone have to fall off the wagon before the court says enough is enough? Because let's be real. If this guy gets out again, what do you think's going to happen? You think he's going to suddenly wake up, respect the law, and show up sober to court? Not a chance. He'll be back at that same quick stop faster than you can say copyright impoundment, and that's what's frustrating here. It's not just about one guy breaking the law, it's about the message it sends. If someone can keep getting arrested, claim they're not subject to U.S. law, and still walk out, what does that say about accountability? This man has turned the courtroom into a stage, and the judge into his unwilling audience. And while the system tries to show compassion, he keeps proving he's not interested in changing, just arguing. So I'll ask you this. Do you think the judge should have denied bond altogether this time? Because in my book, the moment someone says the police kidnapped them for a legitimate arrest, that's a flashing red light. Anyway, that's the end of this hearing, at least until he pops up again in another courtroom, lecturing another judge about his living being status. If you found this case as wild as I did, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below. Do you think sovereign citizens actually believe this stuff? Or are they just using it as an excuse to dodge responsibility? I want to hear your take.